Hello, my name is Matt Bird, and welcome to the PublishU Podcast, where we feature the real life stories of authors from around the world. Today, I'm talking to Cheryl Watson from Durban in South Africa, who has written a book called Broken Yet Chosen. Cheryl, welcome.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to be
It's
here.
so great to see you. Now, Cheryl, tell us about you. You're I think you're a mum. I think you're a businesswoman. Give us a little insight into your life.
Yes, I'm a businesswoman. I am a mom and a gran.
A
Um,
grandma. Oh my goodness.
yes, I got two grandkids. So yes, very happily married, and just moved out into the north coast of Natal.
Wonderful. And tell us about your business. What business are you in?
We're in a valve automation business. It deals mainly with the petrochemical industry, and we supply what's known as valves and actuators, which is gibberish to many. But it's basically what keeps product going through valves without somebody having to open and manually close them. It automates it.
Wow.
So it's, yeah.
So you don't know much about it, but it's your business. I mean, how does that work?
No, no, no. I know it's my husband and I do it together, and he's the technical one, and I'm on the finance side.
Ah,
But when we started, I had to get my hands dirty and fit a few valves and actuators myself. So I am fully aware, but I wouldn't be able to advise an engineer of the best process at this stage.
it's always good to have business partners that know that are specialists in different areas. So it's great to have a
Absolutely,
valve expert in the business, especially when he's your husband.
absolutely,
Oh.
absolutely.
And Cheryl, when did you first think I'd like to write a book?
I never did.
Oh,
Somebody made a comment to me many years ago and said, "You're going to write a book," and I laughed it off. And then I happened to go to a conference, and it was called Living from the Inside Out. And they said, if money wasn't an issue and you couldn't fail, what were some of the things that you would do? And they said, list them all. And on there, I put, oh, I'll write a book. And a week later, you called me. And that to me was a good goosebump moment because I thought, oh my gosh, what were the chances of me having written it down and within a week I get a phone call.
from your
That's
old
when
friend Matt Bird. Isn't that incredible? Wow.
absolutely,
I
yeah,
love that. I love the fact that you didn't think I want to write a book, but on two occasions, other people prompted you and said, you're going to write a book one day.
yeah,
And it was that external influence that put the seed thought in your mind. Um,
absolutely. And the fact that you still, when you said to me, would I have I ever considered writing a book? And I said, oh, well, actually, and that was a goosebump moment. No, who's going to write my book? Who's going to read my book? Who's be interested in my book? And you said, I'll call you tomorrow. And the next day you called me again. And that's literally how it came to be.
isn't that amazing? Incredible how the universe aligns or God makes it happen or whatever your worldview is. These things are
Yeah,
just sometimes orchestrated
absolutely.
and put us in
Yeah,
a place where we do something way outside of what we ever thought we would do. I mean, yeah, it's
yeah.
incredible. And so, Cheryl, you've written a book called Broken Yet Chosen. What's the heart of the message of your book?
I think the heart of it is it doesn't matter how many times you screwed up, God has a plan. Uh,
Ooh. Oh, well,
and
we've all, well, I know I've screwed up a lot of times, and I guess you're writing this, you've screwed up a lot of times.
yeah,
Um,
and
but God,
so with the result, I think it's to give people hope and not to write themselves off. And I think so many people steer away from any kind of relationship with God or whoever because they feel disqualified.
mm,
And I think this book actually shows that none of that disqualifies you.
yeah, when things go wrong in life and, something doesn't work out as we imagine, we can actually, I think we can all kind of disqualify ourselves and say we're
Yeah.
too old, we're too young, we're too, we've made too
Damage.
many mistakes, we've got it wrong too many times, we're not educated enough, we're not experienced
Absolutely.
enough, we're not, and we just disqualify ourselves.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I love that question you were asked. If money was no object and if you couldn't fail, what things would you choose to do?
Yeah.
And you wrote down, write a book. Um,
Yep.
and I spend a lot of my life, Cheryl, as you know, talking to people and saying, you've got a book in you. And
Yes.
more than that, you actually can write it. Yeah, you need to work with somebody who knows what they're doing because it's always easier to work with somebody who knows what they're doing, but you can do it. And
Absolutely. Absolutely.
and so in the book, this is the core message, to believe in yourself, not disqualify yourself. How does your book suggest that you might help somebody who's really disqualifying themselves for whatever reason? How do you help them overcome that and believe more in themselves? What do you suggest?
For me, it was a situation where I had messed up so badly and I had in so many areas. And but then I had divine intervention in my life. And even then, I felt I didn't fit the mold. I I couldn't conform to what I thought what I needed to be in order to be affirmed. And with a result, but because I was so sold out on my new discovery, I ended up just going ahead and doing it from my home. And it was through there that I was not somebody that would sit and read a book to learn my lessons. I learned them the hard way. Um, and with the result, it was realizing that if we just actually stay true, it'll all work out.
Mm. I call it the University of Life.
Absolutely.
We
Absolutely.
learn through life. But it's great that you've taken the time and the effort to write down your learnings and share them with other people so they might learn sooner and save themselves a lot of pain along the way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I say I had so much to unlearn before I could learn.
Wow, wow. What did you have to, Cheryl, what have you personally had to unlearn in life?
Well, as I say, and I've got to say, it was my becoming a Christian that was a
Yeah,
turning point for me. And because I didn't fit the mold, I was renewed spiritually, but everything else about me hadn't been renewed. I still liked the same things. I still did so many of the same things. And I had to actually learn the consequence of these things to actually walk in a new found freedom. And so that was for me what I had to unlearn, that I wasn't the same, but it's a process.
mm,
It's not immediate, it's a process.
yeah,
And every time I thought I'd arrived, I'd learn something else again. And then I'd have to go through that process. And then, okay, now another mistake. And it was a process.
yeah.
And so I think each time I learned things that would sustain me long term.
Amazing.
Just be you.
Just be you. So,
We're not to be clones. Just be you.
yeah. So, Cheryl, your book is now published. It can be purchased worldwide. How does that make you feel?
Terrified, to be quite honest. Um, I feel exposed. I mean, that was part of my struggle going ahead, is what to put in and what not to put in. And I was challenged with, well, if I'm still going to hide stuff, well, then I'm a fraud. So I said, okay, I'm going to put it all out there. And I mean, I had people to consider that I was in a way throwing under the bus in the process. And so I had to say, what do I put in and what don't I put in and why? And then I realized that some of the biggest lessons were ones that were the hardest to share.
Yeah.
But if I didn't put them there, I was going to be stopping somebody from dealing with a huge mountain that they didn't necessarily have to go through.
Mm, mm. Wow. Amazing. And you joined. You indicated earlier you joined the PublishU Writing My Book course, and I coached you over 100 days to write your book. I mean, did you really believe at the beginning that you could write this book in 100 days?
No, no.
But you did.
And I used to, when those meetings would come up, I'd be muttering under my breath and thinking, what am I doing? What am I doing? Um, and yeah, but people say, why did I do it this way? And I said, I would never have written a book if it wasn't for Matt. And
Oh,
I would never have gone this process if it wasn't for you and the encouraging and pushing and challenging. And so, yeah, I don't know if it's the best book. I do believe that it's opened up my eyes, and there are things I would have left out, and there's other things I would have added in hindsight. But I believe it's been the start and the biggest step of my life, and I'm very grateful.
amazing. So, what was it about the course, the Writing My Book course, that helped you so much? There's probably a few things, but what comes to mind immediately?
I think it's the commitment,
Yeah.
and I think it's you're very firm on the commitment, and very straight. And sometimes that challenging is uncomfortable but necessary. Um, so yeah, I would say the commitment, being held accountable. If it wasn't for that, I think I still would have bailed halfway through.
But you committed the time, you committed money, you committed in front of me and others on the course, you were going to do it. And yeah, I guess it makes it harder to turn back, doesn't it? Or give up when you've made these kind of
Absolutely.
commitments.
Absolutely. And I mean, even once it was done and it was now in the process, part of me saying, do I really want to do this? Do I really want to have I really done the right thing? And I think you then have to get to that place and say, well, if I feel it was divine intervention to begin with, I've got to stick the course.
Mhm. Amazing. It's really, really amazing to hear, Cheryl. And what is as we wrap up this conversation, what's the one hope you have about what your book achieves in the world?
I hope that it gives hope, and that it's going to enlighten people about the reality of the day-to-day challenges, and how if you really believe and trust, you will get through them, you will overcome, and you will be able to look back and say nothing is impossible.
Ooh, what a great way to finish. Thank you so much, Cheryl. And thank you all for listening to the PublishU podcast featuring the real life stories of authors from around the world. If you're interested in becoming an author like Cheryl, please reach out to us from our website, www.publish, the letter U, publishu.com, and we would love to hear from you. And if you enjoyed this broadcast, please make sure you subscribe for more. Thank you so much for joining us, and goodbye for now.